Hello and welcome to So It's a Show, a podcast where we attempt to keep up with Lorelai and Rory's pop culture references on Gilmore Girls. I forget what her name is.
And I'm Robert Redford? Question mark?
I'm Karen Blixen. What? How? I don't know how.
I'm Dennis.
How am I speaking?
Well, she had a Danish accent. You're going a little British.
I'm trying to go big because it feels like her mouth was her accent sounds like you have to talk with your mouth really wide open. So
I have to say,
Blixen.
I would like to apologize to the entire country of Denmark and all of their cultural.
Here's the thing, is that I'm not imitating a Danish person. I'm imitating Meryl Streep attempting a Danish accent. Was it accurate? That's to be discussed.
Can't wait.
So yeah, welcome to episode 21. We're talking a movie that, I don't know, maybe it's a classic for some people. I had never heard of it, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
And now that we're 21, we can have alcohol in the United States. If any of you are listening outside the United States, that is the legal drinking age.
A little piece of information for you. Now we don't just have to have a club soda at Friday night dinners. Happy hour.
Yeah, we can finally have a glass of champagne or a martini.
With a twist and an olive, because that's how Lorelai takes them. Because in one episode, her mom did not make it correct. Just to spite her.
This is a true statement.
So congrats to us. Thank you all for continuing to listen.
We appreciate you.
We do.
And to celebrate our 21st birthday, our 21st episode,
we're going to buy 21 things while eating 21 things and getting 21 guys' numbers?
And playing blackjack? No, but a close second. We're having a party. AKA, we are bringing in a guest.
What? We have not done this in a while. We had an interview, but this is a full-on guest. We haven't had one since episode, was that like 11 with Sarah?
The Coochie Coochie episode with Charo.
Oh, man. That was fun to learn about. For me, at least.
Yes, for sure. And saying Coochie Coochie, and that's how I got into Jane the Virgin. And
yes, which
will
is coming
always
back.
Be thankful to that. I know, I'm so excited. So, speaking of Jane the Virgin, aka TV, this last week, I got to have a very cool conversation on a podcast called Zeke Talk, which is, yes, it's a podcast for the film site I write for, Zeke Film.
There are other podcasts people can listen to besides ours?
Well, that's exactly why we have the segment Kinda Recent Podcasts with Kyla and Taylor.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that.
It'll come back, I'm sure. And so here's actually right now, how about now? Kinda Recent Podcast episode of Zeke Talk about Emmy predictions, because we recorded it and released it before the Emmys happened. And in it, I had a conversation with a guy named Mike and a cool person named Maddie. And we are all contributors at Zeke. And we talked our Emmy predictions, and we talked a little bit while we were recording about how much she loves Gilmore Girls and how much she loves Meryl Streep. And I said, whoa, hold up. Have I got a deal for you? Actually, that's not what I said. I texted Kyla that night and I said, hey, I think we have a great idea for a guest. So, without further ado, let's bring Maddie on the show.
Let's bring on Maddie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Oh, hi, Kyla. Hi,
Hey,
hi,
Maddie.
Taylor. Thank you for having me. This is special.
Well, thank you for joining us.
We are so happy to have you. So before you got on, we recorded a little intro to give people an idea of who you are.
Okay.
So, but we also want to ask, do you have anything you want to share about who you are, Maddie?
Well, what I will say is I am a devout Gilmore fan. Man, I'm trying to remember. I think I was like 12. No, I must have been 14 or 15 when I first saw an episode, I think on ABC Family. So, been watching for a long time. Obviously, when you're younger, really relate to Rory, and then once you grow up and kind of get your head out of the sand, I was like, oh, this show's about Lorelai, not Rory.
Yep.
So, yeah, love Lorelai, love all of them. There's a lot of problems with the show as I've grown up, and especially shown it to other people. I'm like, oh, wow, I really fell in love with this show. I never really was super critical about it. So, very happy to be here. Only positive thoughts. But, yeah, can't wait to dive into the episode.
Awesome. And I learned about you last week. You were a big fan of Meryl Streep.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That also happened at 14 or 15. I must have just gone through a huge transition of like, who do I love? I mean, I've always loved Julie Andrews, and I think I just started looking at older actresses and really like powerful leading ladies, and Meryl Streep was obvious. I think I saw Kramer versus Kramer. That was my first film with her. I talk about her like she's my friend. And I'm well aware she's not.
But hey, there's a dream. You'd like her to be.
It's always good to have dreams. Yes.
Meryl seems like the kind of person who would be friends with just about anybody because she just seems so kind.
Yeah, I mean, she does get pretty political, like especially lately, which, I mean, everyone is, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So I'm sure there's people she dislikes, but I think no matter who you are, I mean, I'll speak for her, she's my friend. Yeah, I'll speak for Meryl. I'm sure she would be kind to anyone, even our president, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure she'd be kind.
Yeah, we always, in this show, sometimes we get into things and then we quickly say, we're not a political podcast, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Things come up.
Yes. And she has made her platform clear, but I think she'd be nice to anyone, depending on, no matter your view. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Well, before we get into all that, how about we hop into our first segment?
You're the best, you know?
The worst.
All right, Taylor, what do you have for us?
Well, this week on You're the Best, You're the Worst, we are asking, in honor of the quote we are about to talk about, what are your favorite and least favorite gifts given on Gilmore Girls?
Ooh, good question. I'll jump in. I'll go first.
Good.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to go for the best. You know, it's always good to do glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
So by gift, I took that word lightly because my choice is in season 4. Spoiler alert if people have not gotten there. Luke invests in Lorelai's business when she makes the inn for, I don't know, what, 30 grand, I think? It's a lot of money to put down. And I tell you, I don't know if he ever got it back because then they start dating. Spoiler alert. But yeah, that was a pretty good gift. It also showed a lot of like character consistency, you could say, because I think in like season 2, he also offers to like, it's kind of a loan, I think, or something with the termites under the house, and like he'll do the work and she can pay him in installments and blah, blah,
She's
blah.
like, that's a loan.
Yes, it is.
I need $15,000, which I can't find, don't have, and if I don't find, the house is going to fall down.
I can help you with that.
You can?
Yeah, I can get a couple guys who can get in there and do the work.
You can fix this?
Well, I can help. I know a good contractor who did some work on the diner.
What about the money?
Oh, you won't have to deal with that right away.
I won't?
No, you can pay it out in installments if you want, monthly, bi-monthly, whatever you're comfortable with.
So, let me get this straight. You and some guys who actually know what they're doing are going to come over and fix my house, and I can pay them back whenever I want?
That's right.
Because I'm Tony Soprano?
Only scarier.
Now, Luke, when I finally do make out this installment check, who should I make it out to?
Well, you can make it out to me if you like.
Oh, so basically you would be fronting me the money.
Well, yeah, but it's no big deal.
Luke, that's a loan.
No, it's just a temporary exchange of money for services that will be paid back when you finally have the... It's a loan.
Man, you suck as a liar.
Yeah, but like an actual gift, I thought, or like gesture, I thought when Zach and Lane go on their first date, I think she had mentioned to him that, like, not in the scene, that she really liked Flat Pepsi. And he had that ready for her, and I thought that was really, really sweet.
Yeah.
No matter what you think of their relationship, I thought that was sweet. But yeah, what about you guys?
So, I think the best gift that I thought of, and maybe it's a little cliche because it's the best because it has a huge monetary value.
Oh boy.
But when
Wow,
Richard
Taylor,
and,
priorities.
Yeah, those are the best.
I know. But when Richard and Emily give Rory a car when she graduates high school, one, that's an awesome gift, but I also love it because they know that if she has a car, that means she can continue coming back to visit them for Friday night dinners, and that she will be able to come see her mom. And I know that Lorelai and Emily had some tension about, well, once Rory's on her own, she may not want to come back. But by giving her that car, she has that easy way to get back to Stars Hollow and stay connected with her family.
Definitely.
And it created a pretty funny scene when they said, "There's your car. Which one? The one with the big bow on it."
Oh, yeah.
The parking lot is just full of little Priuses.
Yes.
Yes. Richard and Emily, environmentally friendly.
Ding. Hey, they did also give Rory a science center, so maybe that's part of their environmental love.
Props to Emily. She's my girl. She's my favorite character.
Oh,
Emily.
Kelly Bishop. Yeah. Until things take a turn, but we can talk about that later.
Ooh, I can't wait.
So, probably my favorite gift, because of the episode that it creates, is the rocket from Logan. Because Rory is so confused by what it means, why he gave it to her, and it's just her trying to figure it out, and then it becomes, this 2 a.m. revelation in the middle of the night that she has to do research on to figure out, and it's from a single episode from, what's that show, the old show?
Is it Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone.
I was just going to say it.
Yep. So I just thought it was so funny, the confusion that it created. So that's why I think it's the best.
Yeah, funny is one way to put it. I'm not a season 7, it is season 7, right? I'm not a season 7 hater. Like, I can appreciate it, I understand what happened with the writing and the writers and whatever, but, I have a very, difficult relationship, not just with Rory, throughout the entire series, but Logan himself and his posse and his...
Oh, Maddie, I knew we'd get along.
Yeah, especially with the new, we can talk about this whenever or later, but the new Year in the Life, it's like, what? I had to see him in 3 episodes? It's like, serious? One would have been enough. One is too many. Sorry, I just, not a fan. But
you are repeating exactly what Taylor said in our revival hour and a half rant. Yeah, you're with a couple of Team Jessers. I don't know if that's how you say it. But then second favorite for Taylor is Dean and then Logan. And my second favorite is Logan. I do waver a little bit, so I'm more okay with him than I suppose you two are.
You know what, though? I think you might be right. I think for a while I thought, like, Dean was nice or whatever, but, like, I don't know. I almost think Dean and Logan are tied. Like, I don't know. And I can't say Jess isn't, blameless, and he definitely had his falls. I stumble when I talk to my friends about this, because they're like,
why?
Oh, but Jess is so bad, and in season 2 and season 3, he's so mean, and I try to be like, but he had a bad, I don't know. I've met a lot of people like that at that age, and when seeing them come out of that, and grow up, especially as you see Jess in later season 5 and, I think 5 and 6, it's really worthwhile, and, like, I think besides him, I think Paris, like, they have the most character development, I would argue, like, throughout the show. And so, yeah, there's something really refreshing about, especially when Rory, again, if you haven't seen the whole series, she just takes a tumble. Like, it's just consistent, like, oh, no. There's some ups and downs.
Yep.
It's hard to really appreciate. I don't even really know what the writers want me to think about Rory, to be honest. But, like, with Jess, it's very obvious.
Yes.
Like, here's someone who's grown, and maybe even at the end shouldn't be with Rory. Like, maybe it's his own person and doesn't need her and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, okay, cool. I can respect that. Thank you, Kyla, for explaining.
No problem. So, worst gift. I would be happy to start. I am thinking more of worst potential gift, and that was
Ooh.
any gift from Luke to anyone who wasn't Lorelai.
You mean like in the episode?
So, like, the kitten
Yep.
lunchbox, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Or oven mitt? Wasn't
It
he going to
was,
give, like, cat oven mitts to Rachel?
Yes, it was. Yes.
So, yeah,
Pot
that's pretty
holders
bad.
or something.
Pot holders.
Mhm.
And then he was going to give to his daughter something else that was kitten.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like a terrible sweater or something.
like that.
Or soap? Maybe it was bath products. I can't remember now.
I believe it.
Yeah, so just any gift.
But I'm pretty sure Lorelai went shopping for her again.
Yes, Lorelai to the rescue. So yeah, any potential almost gift given by Luke to someone who wasn't Lorelai. Because as Maddie, you established, she gave pretty good gifts to Lorelai.
Well, wait a minute too. In like later seasons, I think season 6 when he had sorry, I know my seasons. When he had to throw April like a birthday, right? Didn't Lorelai have to save the day with that too? Like that was a disaster.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Luke.
Yeah, she saved the day. Pretty in pink and makeovers.
Yeah, but see, when he's doing anything for Lorelai or Rory, he does it right. Like Rory's graduation shindig. He did that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they try to
point.
establish him, I think, in season 1, like especially in the beginning when he's like a grumbling vegetarian, you know, blah blah, and then they kind of drop that as he's still a healthy eater. But like they really try to establish Luke as someone I think who is not romantic. Like, I mean, they don't even really allude to him having a past girlfriend, I don't think, till like at least midway through season 1. You know, he's kind of this hermit, like doesn't come out at night. I don't know, whatever. Goes to bed early, you know. And then he does all like. I guess my only counter to myself, I guess, is the beginning of season 1 for Rory's 16th birthday, right? Doesn't he bake her a cake? Like, that's really sweet. Like, but yeah, I don't really think they know what they're doing with him sometimes. I don't know, just a personal opinion.
Yeah, I see it. So what about worst gift?
Okay, I have 2. So when you guys jumped in about the car and Emily and Richard, which is a great gift, very funny scene. Again, I think this is a gift, I'm not sure. So in season 6, Emily throws Rory a birthday party, right, at 21st, which is a disaster. Not necessarily Emily's fault. She's a big component, a big player in what's gone on in Lorelai and Rory's relationship, obviously. But it was that pink drink. The, you know, when you turn 21, right, you're supposed to, like, be really excited for your first drink, you know, first alcoholic beverage, maybe not for all of us, but hopefully 21. And it was apparently very, very bad. I mean, Luke didn't like it, which isn't surprising. It's pink, but Rory also says it's horrible. So that, and then the other one that came to mind that was a tie, and you kind of said, you know, Luke gift giving or whatever. But I thought, like, you know, at the end of season 5, when he's trying to get the house for Lorelai and not telling her about it, and there's some turmoil there. But then later on, when they stay in the Gilmore house, he lets TJ pretend to be the contractor and put that big hole in that house, which is incredibly insane and so cruel and would drive me. I would leave my boyfriend if that happened. But yeah, those are mine.
Good to know where you draw the line.
I do draw the line.
Put a hole in my house. We're done.
Write it down. Yes.
I would say my least favorite gift is actually in an episode Kyla and I talked about a few episodes ago when Trix comes to town and Emily starts asking Lorelai back for all the stuff she regifted to her, and so she's saying, where is that coat rack that I gave you? And I need it back. So I think it's a terrible idea to regift something and then have to ask for it back because you need to cater to your mother-in-law who's super demanding.
Have you guys ever done that, though, where you put a gift on display when someone comes over who gave it to you?
My parents live too far away. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that yet. I will say I would trade a coat rack for a monkey lamp. I'm just going to go on the record and say, because I think Lorelai has that monkey lamp.
Same.
What about you?
Yeah, I've done it. But I finally, just recently, took it down permanently. unassembled it, and I'm just going to try to be honest about it. So wish me luck there.
Big steps.
Big steps. Okay, what do you guys say? Should we dive into the reference?
Yes.
I think we should do it.
All right, here's the clip.
What the hell is this?
The results of my shopping trip, all accomplished in 2 hours.
Impossible.
I'm a savant.
And everything's returnable.
Yes. Now sit down and relax. Let me show you what I got.
Can I have my credit card back?
Fine.
Looks tired.
Where's Rachel?
She's out running some errands.
Good. Okay, last week we were talking about Meryl Streep and the whole accent thing, and Rachel said that she loved Out of Africa, but she'd never read the book, remember?
Nope.
Okay. So, I was like, are you crazy? Isak Dinesen is amazing. I love her. Which is kind of crap because I never read the book either, but Rory told me it was amazing, so I felt pretty confident in my recommendation of Out of Africa.
You bought her a book.
No, you bought her a book.
Well, here is the IMDb plot summary.
Ooh, good. These are always good.
This episode is season 1, episode 20. P.S. I love... ...
Da, da, da.
And the IMDb plot summary is Lorelai and Max start dating again. And Lorelai doesn't tell Rory right away, so she hears about it from Max. After a fight with Lorelai, Rory spends the night at her grandparents' house. Lorelai confronts Dean about the breakup. And not in the IMDb plot summary is Rachel's birthday is coming up, and Luke really needs to get her a gift, and he's terrible about it. And so Lorelai goes shopping on his behalf and comes back with a really nice leather camera bag and a copy of the book Out of Africa, because Rachel said she loved the movie.
Great gifts, by the way, instead of those
Yeah,
pot holders.
Agreed. Taylor, had you seen Out of Africa before you watched Gilmore Girls?
No. I would say my knowledge of Out of Africa, probably the first time I watched this, I knew Out of Africa was a movie with Meryl Streep, and it probably had something to do with Africa, or being in Africa, or out of Africa.
It takes place in everywhere
I'm
but
not
Africa.
sure. Yes.
Or the writer had a strange sense of humor. Out of Africa.
And I'm not sure that I knew it was a book at this point until they referenced it on the show. And that's about all that I knew about it. And I had no idea what the significance of the book was or why they were talking about Meryl Streep and the accent thing.
Right. Maddie, did you know about it before you watched it? Before you watched Gilmore Girls?
Well, that's a good point, because I think you're right. Like she says, I think Lorelai says, we were talking about the whole accent thing and Meryl Streep. So, and then, right, they throw in Out of Africa, and you assume the movie, and there's also a book. Yeah, again, another movie. I think I really got into Meryl Streep like at 15 or 16, and when I get into an actress, I'm like, I really got to watch all their movies. And so, at 15, that was almost 10 years ago. So it's like, I can kind of remember my first watch. I know I fell head over heels in love with Robert Redford. I was kind of a tomboy growing up, really into sports and stuff. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should start dating. It's really cute. And especially with that scene of like washing the hair. Anyway,
he was your awakening.
But yeah, I saw it when I was younger. Okay, so she was in Meryl Streep before Out of Africa was in Silkwood, and she was also in Sophie's Choice. And those were big films, I think, where she got real noticed. And I know in Silkwood, I think it was filmed in Texas, but it was based in Oklahoma. I don't know. And so she had like a southern accent there. But in Sophie's Choice, I believe she was a Polish immigrant. So she also had an accent. So I don't know if, because you're right, it's kind of a strange, like, the whole accent thing. I mean, Meryl Streep puts on accents. And then I dug a little deeper and thought, well, why didn't Robert Redford have an accent? Because he was playing that Dennis character who was supposed to be, I think, from London. And I think it was the director who said, no, people know you. You're well known. You've been in movies before. So I don't know if it got some criticism for him. From what I've read, the movie got some criticism from him not having an accent.
Well, I hadn't seen the movie before I watched Gilmore Girls, so I didn't know what they were talking about. I just thought, oh, Meryl Streep. Oh, I don't even know that I thought about it. I was just like, oh, interesting. Lorelai's buying Luke clothes. It's probably more what I was focused on. But,
Oh, yeah.
sounds, with Robert Redford, it sounds like it was similar to, who was it? I never know. Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise in the movie set in Germany?
Inglourious Bastards?
I'm not sure. It was more recent, and everyone had a German accent except for him.
Oh, really?
Valkyrie?
Yes, Valkyrie. So which one was in that?
Haven't seen that. I can look it up.
Tom Cruise.
Okay, so yeah, everyone had an accent except Tom Cruise, and they were all supposed to be German. I didn't see it, but I just heard about it.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah, no, I did not. I was unaware of that. I think Tom Cruise has a movie coming out soon, though. It's supposed to get good reviews. Maybe I'll see. You know what? I haven't seen most of Tom Cruise's movies, but me neither. Still definitely beat me. But yeah, I'm unfamiliar.
Okay. Well, anyways, so yeah, I guess maybe with well-known people think that's weird. I don't know if Meryl Streep continues to put on accents, but basically Out of Africa, for people who haven't seen it, which personally I think you should see it. I enjoyed it quite greatly. It is about Meryl Streep, Karen Blixen. Blitzen? Is it Blitzen?
I don't know.
Blixen? I think the first way you said it is correct.
On Donner, on Blixen. And she is from Denmark, and she is getting up there in years when it comes to marriage age, apparently, and decides to marry a guy who is living in Africa, who's going to have a cattle farm, and he's a baron, and so she'll get to be a baroness. Woohoo! Why not get married to him, right?
That is the dream.
What else do you need? So...
Even though his brother is her lover, which is weird.
I did not get that until I read about it. I did not catch that. I was just like, wait, why is she going to Africa? I thought she literally just said that she wasn't going to get married.
Yep, as a child, that first scene where she's like, they're shooting, I totally went over my head. Had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't get that. So anyways, she goes and takes the long journey to Africa where there's like a community of white, affluent people mixed in with natives to Africa, and they're coexisting, like, well, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of opinions on that, how the movie treated that, but they're coexisting. And husband turns out to be great, but then not so great, and so they just like, let's find new lovers, and they do that. Hence Robert Redford. How's that for plot summary?
That was very good.
Thank you.
But you liked the movie, you said?
Yeah, I really did like it. It was just enjoyable watching her journey and her strength throughout it. I felt like she was, while she did marry for title and convenience, she was very much making her own choices throughout, and she was working hard and trying to make something out of her life. So I really appreciated that. But I hate rooting for affairs. Like, that just doesn't feel right. But back in the day, marriage was so different than how it is now. Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing I didn't like was, like, rooting for her and Robert Redford.
Yeah, I mean, once you get settled, it's like, maybe we should move on. You know?
Yeah, and, they got divorced and they were separated and all that. But, yeah, I really liked watching Meryl Streep in that, and her character, and listening to her accent was entertaining to me. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, let's play a little clip so people can hear her accent. Here's just one of her conversations.
The mail has come today, and a friend writes this to me. The Maasai have reported to the district commissioner at Ngong that many times at sunrise and sunset, they have seen lions on Finchhatton's grave.
So now everyone understands what we're talking about. Had you seen it? So you said that you've seen it a few times, right, Maddie?
Yeah, I saw it, I think, intermittently. I saw it when I was 15. Didn't really understand a lot of it besides, Robert Redford's hot, and a lot went over my head. Saw it again. Meryl Streep movies I'll frequently rewatch. I like some more than others. Saw some of it, watched some clips before today, obviously, to try to remind myself. Here's the thing, like, I couldn't remember, did I like this movie? Like, I've recommended it to people. which I know is you shouldn't do if you're not 100% sure you like something, but anything with Streep, I'm like, listen, you don't like Mamma Mia, you don't like musicals, just watch it. All right, Meryl Streep's there, and they're making another one, which I won't get into. It's good. I remembered why maybe I didn't love it, and I was reading some of the reviews, and I think there was some consensus there. Don't know if you guys saw this, but the pacing, it's just a little slow. I mean, I think it is 160 minutes or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I think there was stuff, much like, a good Stephen King read. Some of it's good. I know you guys just talked about Misery in a few episodes ago, which,
yeah.
Oh man, great.
Yeah.
I love Stephen King, just saw it. But anyway.
And it's actually his birthday today. Happy birthday, Stephen King.
Happy birthday, Stephen. Never read anything, but I watch movies.
Oh man, don't read it. It'll keep you up at night.
I won't. Don't worry.
Yeah, and Misery, I don't know if I could do that either. But so the pacing was kind of funny, and then the other big criticism I saw was Robert Redford, and I didn't realize why. Like I said, he didn't have an accent, and I guess that director, Sidney Pollack, I believe, because when he casted him, Redford had prepared to come in with an English accent. They did some shots. He was using the accent, and actually they had to re-record a few of the scenes because they decided, no, you're too recognizable. It's going to distract people. I mean, I think he was in so Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid came before, right? And then The Sting, The Way We Were, which is another Gilmore reference I'd like to talk about. The Great Gatsby, All the President's Men. So he was very recognizable. And granted, I think I saw those movies after I watched that Gilmore Girls episode when I was younger. Just kind of interesting, because I think it sort of held him from really getting in character. As I was watching, I was like, yeah, he kind of is the odd man out. He doesn't seem... Now, part of it is, right, she really wants a commitment from this man, Karen. Karen's falling in love with Dennis, and you think he is too, and there's that heartbreaking moment of, no, it's not enough for him. Much like I would argue Luke's not enough for Rachel, but, I mean, we can talk about that later.
Interesting.
But, yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'll probably watch it again in my lifetime, just because it's beautiful, the way it's shot, all the scenes with the animals, and to see Karen's compassion sort of grow, not just for the people, not just for her farm, but, I feel like I'm giving a political speech now. I don't know why. I feel sentimental. But to see her really fall in love with Africa and be happy to be there, and ultimately, even when she leaves, leaving some prosperity to the workers, was really, really touching. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she remained true to her beliefs, and her beliefs, changed as the movie continued, but she did stay true.
Yeah, and she let other people, I think, also, I mean, I think Dennis did a really good job in that scene, I think, when they're dancing before it's New Year's. He kind of reminds her, this isn't yours, you don't own this, we're all going to die one day, and obviously with Dennis's demise later in the film, I think in her speech, Karen says, he wasn't mine either. And so really letting also people be themselves and realizing, hey, not everyone's going to agree with me. But like Meryl Streep herself, be kind.
Yeah.
When they said they like to read, how did they put that exactly? I mean, did they know they'd like Dickens?
You don't think they should learn to read?
I think you might have asked them.
Did you ask to learn when you were a child? How can stories possibly harm them?
They have their own stories. They're just not written down.
And what stake do you have in keeping them ignorant?
They're not ignorant. I just don't think they should be turned into little Englishmen. You do like to change things, don't you?
For the better, I hope. I want my Kikuyu to learn to read.
My Kikuyu. My Limoges. My farm. It's an awful lot to own, isn't it?
I have paid a price for everything I own.
And what is it exactly that's yours? We're not owners here, Karen. We're just passing through.
Taylor, did you enjoy this movie?
So, yes and no. I didn't love this movie. I felt like it definitely had merit. I felt like Meryl Streep and Robert Redford were giving great performances. And the scenery was beautiful. The music was lovely.
The green screen was on point.
The story in it of itself. Yes, that's exactly. Okay, my mom and I have a running joke because the first time we watched Casablanca together, it was like a hoot to watch whenever they were driving, and you could see these, like, fake backgrounds whenever they were supposedly driving. So now, anytime we see that in a movie, we're like, oh, it's like Casablanca. So we did that when we watched this movie. So I just had some... I guess I didn't love this movie, but I definitely felt like it had merit. I could see why critics would like it, and, like, there were things that were good about it, but it was just so slow, and it just didn't grab me.
That's fair.
Was it the story specifically, or was it the characters or the way they created the film?
I really liked Meryl Streep's character. I felt like she was a much kinder version of Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. Like, has ambition, and she's not afraid to break the rules of what women are supposed to be in society. She doesn't mind getting her hands dirty, but she's actually really kind to people, even if maybe patronizing sometimes, but at least it's from a good heart. Whereas Scarlett O'Hara, you can't really say that about her at all.
All I can think is Neely O'Hara.
Oh, wrong movie. Yes, wrong Valley of the Dolls. But I think it was mostly just the pacing. Yeah. And it felt like there wasn't a strong drive to the story. It was a little meandering. But I mean, it was beautiful to look at. And I was also really grateful that the original cut of 220 minutes isn't what I had to watch.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So, thank you, Sydney Pollack, for cutting it down a little bit before you released it in theaters.
We appreciate it. I did find some deleted scenes, actually.
Ooh.
So, I found some of those extra 60 minutes. And they were just riveting, guys. I can't believe they didn't make it in the film.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
Definitely not serious. So one is
Bummer.
She walks into her house after getting married, woohoo, and she's amazed that there's a bath inside the house. So that's critical to this plot.
Who doesn't love a bathtub? I'm just saying.
Gotta have it. There's one later on in the film where Robert Redford talks to an elephant.
Oh, good.
And then looks off into the distance, and Meryl Streep just looks at him knowingly, like she understands. And I had no idea what was going on in that scene. And then there were a few more, but not too notable. Yeah, you can find them on YouTube. We'll put the link on our Tumblr. So, yeah, nothing too riveting that I saw. I did not watch all of them because, again, not entertaining. But some of those spare minutes.
Yeah, I would not have picked it for Best Picture, honestly. I think it has merit. I see why it was nominated for Oscars. I would not have picked it for Best Picture.
Why do you think it won Best Picture? From you two because you both write movie reviews, you two as critics. Why did it win?
Well, I will tell you, it was actually a little bit of a surprise that it won. It was not expected to win because actually the reviews were just kind of so-so when it came out. Some people really liked it. Roger Ebert really liked it, and you know I love my Roger Ebert. But I think critics were kind of divided on it, and then I wonder if it was just a slow year for Best Picture. I mean, Witness was also nominated that year, and that's a really good movie. So I would have probably picked that over Out of Africa.
Yeah, I have not seen Witness, and I was looking at who Streep was it, because Meryl was of course, Meryl's always nominated, but she was nominated. And I even noticed when I was looking at some reviews, and I love my Rotten Tomatoes, shout out to them, you know, if you ever go on there and you see like the critic review score and then the audience, it was interesting because Silkwood, Meryl's previous movie, as well as Sophie's Choice, both scored better from critics than Out of Africa. And I think it was under 60% actually with Out of Africa. And then the audience score was much higher. Taylor and I talked last week about the Emmys and how much is influenced, you know, by people who watch the shows and how much do they want to praise the networks. And so I don't know if that was part of it. I mean, I can see why it won Best Picture. I think it won 7 Academy Awards. The other 6 I definitely see. I remember thinking, oh, this movie won Best Picture. I forgot it did. Like, I was a little surprised, even though I have the DVD. Again, I bought it at 16. I'm such a dork. And it says it right there, right? But, like, I wonder if something else, I think it was 1985 were these Academy Awards, 86.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm off here. Maybe it even won by a small margin, but I definitely think it's worthy of being nominated, and you can't always say that of movies.
Yeah, I think it was a worthy winner for art direction, cinematography, original score. I totally understand the nominations for Best Actress, Supporting Actor, and Costumes. Not so much the editing, because I felt like it could have used more, but maybe that's my cynical opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also won, you might have said this, Best Adapted Screenplay. I mean, from what I read, they did really there were some things, I think I made a few notes, like, in real life, the farm's a lot larger. There's, like, a locust swarm that happens on the farm. There's some shootings that they don't include, but, like, it did followed her memoirs. That's really great that they were able to make a script. Again, it just needs to be tighter. Like, I go back to that Stephen King, edit. I think there's even that line in Gilmore Girls. Like, edit.
Yep.
Cut it down.
But wasn't that true of movies back then? Even Citizen Kane, one of the greats that we talked about, it is so incredibly long. And it's not just that there are a lot of scenes, it's that the camera just stays and watches for a long time. And it takes a while for one character to reach the other, and it's a lot slower, whereas now, in the age of Vines and us millennials, although Maddie, I'm not sure if you're a millennial, but you're cool
Didn't
either
Vine
way.
rest in peace? Isn't Vine gone now? Oh, maybe
Well,
not.
yes, Vine is gone.
R.I.P. Vine.
But
Yes, go on.
things are a lot snappier. They're a lot faster. We move from one scene to the next, and that's not how they used to do movies. They liked them long.
Very true.
Well, can I tell you a little bit about the production of Out of Africa? That might also give you some insight into why this movie was so long. They spent 4.5 months shooting this movie in Nairobi and surrounding areas. And they had 100 people on the production crew and nearly 10,000 actors. 10,000!
What?
And most of them were African extras who spoke little to no English, which is insane. But apparently they were really good mimics, and they could just, they could repeat the scenes they watched the day before, even if they couldn't speak the language. They could, reenact them, because they were totally with it. And everybody, cast and crew, lived in canvas tents.
Wow.
While they were shooting.
Oh, my.
And they were surrounded by wild animals, and there was one time that a spitting cobra, got into somebody's tent. And I think he was fine, but if he had spit the venom into that guy's eye, he would have gone blind.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, also fun fact, many of the places that they filmed were the actual spots of where the real story of Karen Blixen took place.
Oh, that's too cool.
And actually, a lot of the people in the extra roles were actually descendants of the people who worked for Karen Blixen.
Oh,
that's super cool.
That's neat.
So, yeah, they kept it within the family. And the city of Nairobi was recreated so it would look like it was the early 1900s. And fun fact, a lot of people got malaria.
Oh,
yikes.
That's awful.
And working with animals was super complicated.
So, watch some interviews with Meryl. She talked about some making of the film, and she reminisced about the scene where the lions are attacking their camp. When she's going to take supplies to her husband, when he was still her husband, and she's whipping the lion to get him to go away.
CA in that scene, by the way. But yes, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that scene, now, in that scene, naturally, the lion was tethered up in real life because it's a lion. And, she was whipping at it and yelling and doing her thing. But the lion knew, in real life, that it was tethered up. So it wasn't really, just not really moving. Now in the scene, the lion was moving a little more. So the director noticed that the lion wasn't moving too much, took him off the tether, did not tell Meryl, shot the scene, got a couple growls, said cut, tethered the lion back up.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh. Is that not just the most insane, insensitive, dangerous thing to do?
Ugh, I don't like it.
No, that's horrible.
Yes. No, I could not believe that. But here's her talking about it.
He was sort of tethered, so I'd whip him. But he knew he was tethered, so he just sat there like this. So Sidney took the tether off on the last take and didn't tell me. So he said, okay, roll him, action. And I whipped the thing, and the thing went at me. And he said, got it. Okay, it's a wrap. I just tore out through the bushes with my life, basically. He couldn't have gotten me to do another take if he got on his knees, dear, and promised me Sabrina in 1995.
So the director did this?
Yeah.
And she knew, oh, it makes me so angry.
Yeah, she was done for the day after that. She went back to her little canvas tent.
A nice deserved well break.
Yeah. Okay, well, and what's crazy about that lion, too, I did read this about the animals. So apparently it's really difficult to work with animals in Kenya. They had laws that made it illegal to touch the wild animals. So they couldn't actually use any animals native to the area.
Oh,
so a lot of times the crew just had to camp out for hours so that animals would come into the shot when they wanted them to. And then for the ones like the lion that they took off the leash when they should not have, they actually brought animals over from California. So they brought 6 trained lions, 3 dogs, and an eagle from California.
But those lions from California came from Africa to begin with.
Yes.
Back and forth.
Good point.
Well, and Meryl Streep, she brought her family out there with her to Africa for the shoot, and she had to, I guess, take her 6-year-old son to school one day, and there were like 7 giraffes in the driveway.
Wow.
Because her family stayed in a house when she was not on a shoot, staying in a tent. And every morning, apparently at 5 a.m., the lions would wake up. And she said the first time she heard it, she thought someone was dying next door.
Jeez. That would be scary.
They were in and around the animals a lot.
And you said they filmed for 4 months?
Yeah,
more than
4
4
and a half.
months? Okay, I thought I read somewhere too that that area, they were not super happy to have them there filming. Did you come across that?
I did.
Oh man.
So
I didn't really
this.
hear that long.
Yeah, well, this is from a People article that came out close to the time that the movie was released. And it's a little... I feel like I'm only getting one side of the story here, so I think there's more to it. But it said that local newspapers tried to stir up trouble for the filmmakers, even though they were pumping $8 million into Kenya's economy.
Wow.
So, at one point, they said that the African extras were paid half of what the white extras were paid, which is not cool.
Not
and eventually they raised the salary of the African extras. I'm not sure if it was ever equal, but it says they raised it eventually. And then apparently the Kenya Times thought that Isak Dinesen, the pen name of Karen Blixen, was a downright racist and who thought that African culture could not elevate Africans from their status as animals. And while I definitely understand people saying this movie romanticizes colonialism, I'm not sure that's the intent, but I could see how people could interpret it that way. At least in the movie, she doesn't come off as a downright racist. Maybe patronizing, but she seems to be a lot more open to the idea of, hey, we white people just showed up and this really isn't our place.
Right.
Right. And you see her priorities shift, you know, when she leaves Africa, I guess, hence the title Out of Africa at the very end where she leaves. She is ensuring that the people, the community that she's been a part of will be able to remain together on land. Not the same land, but on a piece of land together.
Exactly.
And it is interesting, too, that the descendants of people who worked for her would still want to be in this movie.
Right.
And I guess, now I don't know if this is still true today, but also the suburb of Nairobi where her farm once was is called Karen. They named it after her. So her legacy seems complicated.
Right. Interesting. So here's a question I have for you guys. Was she more compelling as a character to the men in the story because of her mind and her abilities, or because of the way she looked?
Ooh, good question.
I think she got where she did. I think she was given so much leeway, you know, like especially in that first scene when she walks into the club and they're like, oh, what are you doing in here? What are you doing in here? I think some doors were open to her because of the way she looked, because she was pretty, she was thin. But I think that was a gateway for them to maybe take her seriously and listen to her. And then I think she earned it with her mind, because I mean, consistently, even on the farm, you're seeing her say, give me work, let me help. I don't want to stay home. I want to be a part of this. And I think that's where I struggle with this movie, too, of like, I can't really tell what they were trying to do. So when I hear the criticism, especially of what Taylor just talked about when they were abroad, I get it. I can't tell if the director really wanted to make like strictly a romance movie. I mean, that's how it's advertised. When you read about it, it's a romance. And I never really thought about it like that. Like, I always thought it was a drama, a biopic, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So I have a hard time trying to really, I guess if you look at it that way, I've never thought about if she got ahead because of how she looked. I mean, Meryl Streep to me has also always represented someone who maybe didn't look like all the female actresses and wasn't the prettiest and still got these really great roles. But I definitely think, especially, you know, it's based in, I think 1913 is the setting. So I can definitely see that was in her advantage because she looked the way she did and because she was high society, right? She had money. I don't know if he would have married her, probably married her for the money. But I do think she comes out of the movie a lot wiser. Like, you definitely get that sense of like she's learned something about herself. People know who she is, and it's hard not to like her. I like her character a lot. So I would definitely say more of her mind. I'm of the sort of her personality, her charm, and her passion. Like I said, it's Out of Africa. It's a love story, but it's kind of her falling in love with that farm, with being in a place she didn't think she'd want to be.
I think the movie definitely celebrates her more for her mind. I don't think the movie objectifies her really at all. I think she's a fully developed character, and that they are really interested in showing her growth and how even like her political and environmental views change over the course of the movie. But that's a great question. I mean, neither of the guys she's with are really great. And both of the circumstances that she gets together with them are not really great. So I don't know, because it's a marriage of convenience, and then it's kind of an affair of convenience, because he wants to be with her whenever he's there, but then he doesn't really want to commit to her. And yeah, I don't, that's a great question. It doesn't seem like they're just attracted to her. It seems like especially Robert Redford, who I know has a character name Dennis, ?
Yes.
Yes. Like, I think he especially seems attracted to her mind. But, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Kyla?
Well, the director, at least going into the movie, is definitely concerned about who played Karen Blixen and how they looked. Because Meryl heard, as she was setting up her audition, that the director wasn't really sure, like, yeah, she could do it, but didn't really know if she was sexy enough. So she decided that she would prove her sexiness.
I'd heard that Sidney thought I was a very good actress, but he didn't know if I was sexy enough. So I hadn't known that was an enormous part of Karen Blixen's character, but it was, in a way. I mean, it was a love story, and anyway, to make a long story short, I went to my audition wearing something very low cut. Cheap, but it worked.
This interview takes place not too long after the movie, so it's back in the day. I feel like if she were to have this interview in 2017, people would be like, what a sign of the times, like sexism at its finest. When I watched that interview, I thought, I didn't really think that she was exuding sexiness throughout the film. I thought she was exuding strength. So not to say that Meryl Streep isn't attractive or sexy, I don't know, but that didn't seem to be the most important thing about her character in the movie, by a long shot.
Well, and I'll definitely follow up and say, you know, she's beautiful. She's one, right. I mean, I'm biased. I love Meryl Streep. I have her nose that I love and hate, you know, like I love her. And I can't name for certain what interview it was for certain movies, but, you know, even as an older woman, she's spoken about how hard it is for people in Hollywood to get roles when they're older. A lot of people say that, but she says specifically how much she struggled because she didn't look the part, you know, because even though it's silly, because it's like, she's beautiful, she's thin, she's what she's supposed to be cast, but, you know, she just wasn't beautiful enough. And so, you know, while certainly other actors, for varying reasons have had a harder time than Meryl Streep, you know, I make it seem like, oh, here's this pretty white woman who had a hard time. You know, I don't mean it like that.
Right.
But I do think she got a lot of criticism because she didn't look exactly, and she wasn't having work done like some people were, so, which is fine. So I don't know. I can definitely see, unfortunately, I think she's overheard that from directors more than once, which is a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't fit the physical mold that you see. She has a unique look. Like, she's not long, wavy hair with, like, this narrow face. You know, she has a prominent, like, cheekbones, and she just has, like, her own look. I can't even describe it, but, you know, it's not cookie cutter, so.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I really like her, and I think it's easy for people now to look back on an interview like that and be like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you stand up? Why wouldn't you say, hey, don't belittle me for the way I look, you know, use my mind, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I do think it was a different time then, and it still is. I mean, for a lot of people to be able to get work, unfortunately, you have to do what you have to do. And it's a lot maybe easier, some would argue, now because we have those platforms, because we have positive body image and, you know, women can work and it's not just about the way we look. But I definitely think in 1985, when she was in her 20s, she definitely probably had to get what she could, and she really wanted to act. Ultimately was successful, and I know nowadays, I think she's like 68 now, maybe a little younger.
That's hard to imagine.
Yes, something around there. And now she's like, I get to do what I want, you know, and she's earned that. But I think it must have been a different time when you're struggling and young.
So we haven't really asked you, Maddie, but why did you fall in love with Meryl Streep, and why have you continued to follow her so closely? It was really, as a young person, it was really empowering. We kind of talked about the way she looked. To see someone who wasn't cookie cutter. I mean, you said she looked different than everyone else. She did. She played parts that maybe, you know, she wasn't always in a romantic comedy. She wasn't going for all the sexy roles. I'm looking at her IMDb now, and I think I've seen most of her movies. I mean, even things like Mamma Mia, right? Which, like, you could argue not
not great. Pierce Brosnan, I still love you, but right, like not great. And I've just enjoyed seeing her and what she's going to do next. I think she really takes acting super seriously, loves her craft. I've always admired people who love their work. I mean, again, we said it at the beginning of this episode, like the dream is to be friends with Meryl Streep. Well, the dream is really to love what you do. And I think she, especially as a woman in that time, and still being, you know, an older person in the industry who's doing all this work. I mean, she has 3 upcoming movies coming out. Or something like, if you saw Florence Foster Jenkins, which came out last year, which was about...
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was great. And it was about an older woman who didn't sound good, didn't look great, and it did really well, and it was a great film. And to see someone have that courage to continue to play people maybe not necessarily represented super well in society is really empowering.
Yep.
Do you guys like Meryl Streep?
Oh, yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you, I really did not like Mamma Mia at all.
It's not good. I mean...
No, it's not. And I don't know why they're making a sequel, but I do love Meryl Streep.
They're making a sequel?
Yes, they are. I wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
They are.
Why?
Didn't catch that.
Because she was not a good singer in this movie. Pierce Brosnan was not a good singer in this movie. I don't know where she pulled out those pipes for Into the Woods, because they were not there in Mamma Mia.
I will say, not to defend Mamma Mia, because it's not a great movie, but from the interviews I watched when that movie was coming out, I think it was either all a female director, post-production crew, or mostly a female. Like, I know that the director, the writers were female. So, like, you rarely see a fully female, sort of like the praise Big Little Lies got, right? Like an all-female cast, that TV show that just won a ton. So there's something to celebrate for that, right? Because there's not a ton of
for sure
female.
And here you guys are criticizing it. What kind of feminist are you?
Exactly.
Hey, I'm still glad they had a job. We just talked about Elaine May a couple episodes ago and how she made a terrible movie Ishtar, but we still wanted her to work afterward.
Yeah, to be honest, I have not followed much of her career. I just hear the joke at every Oscars like, oh, I won against Meryl, or, you know.
They love those.
They always say that because she hasn't won in a little while. I don't remember the last time she won.
2011, The Iron Lady Academy Award. Yeah, she's won the most Golden Globes, and 3, I think she's tied with someone for the most Academy Awards.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. And she's nominated for the most Academy Awards, 20.
Oh, heck yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Nominations.
Which is almost exactly a perfect 50%, I think, of her film roles. Which is crazy.
Wow. Just to nail it every time.
She's 100% in my book. That's all.
But yeah, I've enjoyed her when I've seen her, but I liked having this opportunity to watch her, especially in an older role, you know, when she's getting started a little more. And I think I might try to seek out one of her films. What should I watch next, Maddie?
Well, you guys aren't going to be on season 4 of Gilmore for a while, but I do know, I think Suki makes a Sophie's Choice reference in there.
Ooh,
I want to say it's when, okay, so it's kind of, I think it's in The Incredible Sinking Lorelai's. Guys, I know the titles. That's how.
I love that. This is why you're on the show.
Yeah, and so I think that's when Lorelai is, you know, I mentioned earlier Luke giving her money. She's not doing super great, and I want to say, like, there's supposed to be an oven delivered or something, and Suki couldn't be there, and so they're trying to figure out where they can cut corners, and I believe Suki says something about the horses. So Lorelai's like, well, we could cut one of the horses. You know, they have 2, Cletus and Desdemona. See, I remember these things. And and she says something like, gee, Sophie, who are you going to choose? Or something like that. So that's coming. But I mean, Silkwood is, like, if you want to try to stay in some type of order, I think I mentioned The Iron Lady is what she recently won for, so that's a good one. But Silkwood is very, very interesting. That might be a pretty good. I think Cher's in that too, so you get to see her do some drama chops.
Okay, I'll have to look that one up. Thank you for the recommendation.
Anytime. And obviously Devil Wears Prada. Let's put that in there. That's an easy one. You guys have seen that, right? Yeah. That's a great one.
No, I haven't seen it.
What?
You haven't? Kyla.
No.
It's so good.
I've seen scenes.
Get off this podcast and put that on.
Wait, no. I have watched it. And I remember I didn't think Meryl Streep was that mean.
Yeah.
In real life or in the movie?
No, in the movie.
Oh, you have to watch the whole thing. She's awful.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
If you watch it, I think the whole way through, you'll be like, oh boy, Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That is a movie I never get sick of, no matter how many times I've seen it.
And I don't like Anne Hathaway. And I'm like, although she doesn't deserve some of the BS she gets, I think she...
Oh, yeah, I don't know why people hate Anne Hathaway. Princess Diaries, best movie ever.
Julie Andrews.
Hands down.
Oh, yeah. They're doing... No. I heard rumors a while ago they were going to do another one, and I think that dream is gone. I think the director passed away, too. So.
Yeah, Gary Marshall. I love him. Gary Marshall.
Oh. Sorry to bring up this.
He passed away last year. He was one of the many celebrity victims of 2016.
God, there were so many.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
There were so many.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that we're ready to analyze what this reference meant?
I hope so.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Okay. So what was the whole accent thing?
That she had a prominent one?
Yes.
Also, she loves accents in her movies. Let's see, she had...
Oh, yeah.
What, Julie and Julia. She does the French accent for Julia Child.
I love that movie. She's so
great.
wonderful.
I do love her.
What else has she done? You said Polish in Sophie's Choice.
Mm-hmm. I think she's a Polish immigrant in that.
Mm-hmm. What was the other one we talked about earlier that she had an accent in?
I mean, Silkwood, again, it's like in I think the deeper south, she has kind of a southern accent, but that's kind of weird. I mean, I'm trying to look and see if there's any big or prominent.
She has a very distinct, consistent voice in Devil Wears Prada, even if it's not an accent. Mm-hmm. Although that wouldn't have come out by the time this Gilmore Girls episode came out.
Yeah.
Neither would Julie and Julia.
If we go back, let's see.
Because this episode came out 2001? 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of these I'm seeing are not ones she'd really have. By the way, have you guys ever seen The River Wild? Kevin Bacon and Meryl Streep? That's a crazy one. They're like on a river and on a boat. Just definitely DVR that. Yeah, I mean, she's in a lot. I think Postcards from the Edge, she's a singer in that, a country singer. So she has some
interesting
southern accent. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if part of the accent thing in Gilmore Girls, as I read more, like I said earlier, about Robert Redford sort of like not having that accent. And I wonder if that ampled up Meryl Streep's performance, because unfortunately, I think when critics don't really love one character's performance, or one actor's performance rather, they sort of maybe give more credit to the other actors. Not that Meryl did a great job. I read one review that I think from Chicago Tribune where they talked about Robert Redford. I don't know if it had anything to do with his accent, although they were upset about that too, but he said he looks and acts as if he just walked out of the safari fitting room from Abercrombie and Fitch. Ouch. Ouch.
Accurate description.
Kind of, right? I feel bad. He's a
little
actor,
bit.
But
his hair's a little too coiffed to be a real safari man.
I like that word. Yeah, I would agree.
So, aside from the accent thing, though, I did think I wondered what the significance of Out of Africa was as a birthday gift for Rachel. I think that, like Karen Blixen, both Lorelai and Rachel are very strong female figures who are in control of their own lives. They're career women. They're not afraid to work hard. And, like Karen Blixen, there's a little love triangle going on here between Luke, Lorelai, and Rachel.
Very true.
So, does this make Luke the Meryl Streep in this scenario?
Luke is Meryl.
I think so.
Or is Rachel the Meryl Streep in this scenario because she ends up peacing out?
That would make her Robert Redford.
Well, she leaves Stars Hollow, kind of like Karen leaves Africa. You might say
Stars
she's
Hollow.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Took the joke. You know, I think a very telling quote from this movie for me that I think applies to Rachel and the characters in Gilmore Girls is when the lion was looking at Karen like she was a piece of meat. She was. Mm-hmm. And she was just like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him, shoot her. And he was just like, wait a second. You know, she said, she almost ate me. And he said, it wasn't her fault, Baroness. She's a lion.
Mm.
And, you know, a lion is instinctually is going to do what a lion does, which is survive. And part of that is killing and eating. And Rachel is Rachel. She's going to split. And that's what Luke knew the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that he won't feel hurt. It didn't mean that Karen didn't feel scared and like that was a really unfair situation for her to be in, just waiting to see what this lion was going to do. I think it was telling to all the characters in Out of Africa. Robert Redford, he's a traveler. He's going to move on, vagabond. Yeah. He's not going to stay in one place.
Yeah.
Meryl's going to keep pushing in and leaning into what she's doing. And Rachel's going to leave, and Luke is never going to leave.
Wow. Oh.
Kind of a little convoluted, right? Because Rachel leaves, so in the next episode, right, we know it's season finale, not this episode, but Luke is kind of pushing her away. He said before she's going to leave, and yet at that same time, when he's worried she's going to leave, Rachel's telling Lorelai, you know, no, I want to be here. I think this is where I should be. And so it's sort of that thing of like, is Luke subconsciously sort of knowing he wants Lorelai? Rachel could have been great for Luke. I think Rachel and Lorelai have a lot of qualities alike. I think Lorelai's very grounded in Stars Hollow, mostly because of her daughter, of Rory. Rory's that base for her, right? And like Rachel, there is no base. And so when she tries to stay with Luke, I wonder if Luke's sort of pushing her away because he knows, you know, I really loved you. We could have made it work, but listen, you left, and I also kind of found Lorelai. Like I've always wondered, especially with that horoscope, you know, that comes later, of him sort of knowing it's Lorelai, whether I can have her or not. So it's hard to say, you know, if Luke had been really, really great in the last 2 episodes of season 1, would Rachel have left? I mean, I certainly agree with both of you guys. I definitely think Robert Redford is Rachel. Dennis, right? Dennis is Rachel. Always someone on the move, has to find the new adventure, free spirit, kind of not grounded, like I said. And really, Meryl Streep's character, Karen, could have accepted that, right? She could have been like, okay, when you're in town, we're together. And she couldn't. It wasn't enough for her. And same with Luke. I think one too many times you leave someone, even if you say you're going to stay, I think it was too late.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I like these interpretations, ladies. I am impressed with the quality of thought. Not that I expected anything less from either of you.
Thank you, Taylor. So, do we understand the scene?
I want to go down a quick rabbit hole with you girls, if you don't mind. So, Robert Redford is also in The Way We Were. And
Barbra Streisand, right?
Yes, Barbra Streisand. Okay. They break up. It's a very sad movie. And you might remember in season 5, when Lorelai and Luke break up, she's really upset. She wants to call him, leave a message. And she talks about Hubble and that scene in The Way We Were. They broke up. They were there for each other. And I always thought, that's, Robert Redford's in The Way We Were. Who directed The Way We Were? And it turns out the same person who directed Out of Africa directed The Way We Were. And then I looked at what else Sidney Pollack, the director, has directed. He shot They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Now, They Shoot Horses. Now, what am I going to say next? You guys know this, right? Season 3. They Shoot Gilmore.
Because it's probably my favorite episode.
The best episode, that dance marathon. And I've never seen They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And like a brief summary is there's this dance marathon. As a young boy, one of the dancers sees someone shoot a horse who's in pain, put him out of his misery. Sorry if someone's seen the movie and loves this. I might be butchering it. And at the end,
We haven't.
well, at the end, the two dance partners, one of them's depressed, and so really sadly, she says, "Will you put me out of my misery?" And he shoots her, and the police are like, "Why'd you do that?" And he says, "Well, they shoot horses, don't they?" So, isn't that interesting? So I thought maybe Amy Sherman Palladino, maybe the Palladinos have some type of, I don't know, love for this director. I really don't know, but as I kept going down and reading more, I was like, oh, this might, and with that scene, with they shoot horses, don't they? I mean, in that episode, right, Rory dumps Dean. I mean, kind of. Dean really leaves her, but putting Dean out of his misery, right? So sometimes I don't give the Palladinos a ton of credit. I sometimes think they have this list of like, we gotta use all these pop culture references, go. And so, and sometimes it's hard to determine if it was there for a purpose or not. And I do think this one may have been quite purposeful, actually.
Yeah, I think Taylor and I think I can speak for Taylor in saying that we give them a lot of credit. We think they thought things through pretty well, which is also, it's more fun to talk about references with that mindset, I think, that
absolutely.
They really planned this out. But I think they did. I would love to ask Amy or Dan or
Maybe
Dave.
they'll come on the podcast.
Dan.
Yeah, they're welcome on anytime. Please come.
Yes.
So is Yannick Truesdale, who followed us the other day, by the way. No big deal.
Exciting.
Wait, Yannick Truesdale or Tank Sade?
Nope, Tank Sade. Wait, no, Yannick Wait, who's...
Did he
that's
also?
Michelle. My bad.
Tank Sade, who... Full disclosure, he plays either Colin or Finn. They come as such a package deal that I honestly cannot tell you which one is which.
Yeah.
And Kyla and I were texting about this earlier this week because we were both very thrilled by it. And I said, too bad we hate the Life and Death Brigade. And she said, well, I can like them better than you, so one of us can like him. Actually, I think Tank Sade is a great performer and does a great job in that role.
Yeah.
I just don't care for the character.
Oh my gosh, the Life and Death Brigade. Did you guys, in Out of Africa, when they were in all those white outfits, I think, were you like, this is the Life and Death Brigade? Like,
no, good point.
I
didn't think about that connection. It's kind of like their little safari and you jump, I jump, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
So I think we nailed it, you guys.
Agreed.
So. Absolutely. Maddie, thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast. You had a lot of great insight to share that.
Oh, you guys are way too kind. Way too kind. I do remember some episode names, and that's not necessarily a healthy or good thing. But I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm always down to talk the Gilmores.
Well, we might talk again.
I'd love it.
I think maybe you could be a good Meryl Streep correspondent.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Get me on speed dial. I'm ready.
Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to share with our listeners about something you're writing or working on or social media handles?
Sure. So I think it was mentioned at the beginning, I also write for Zeke Film. I'm very, very new. And I did one of their podcasts last week on the Emmys. So I'm much more into TV. So trying to analyze a movie is new for me, especially when, Meryl's in it. I don't like to criticize her and be too mean. But, you gotta do. So I watch a lot of TV. But as far as movies go, I'm actually seeing Mother tomorrow night.
Oh my gosh.
And guys, I have to tell you, I gotta get drunk before. I'm so afraid. Like, I should not go, and I'm gonna go. And luckily I live with my boyfriend, so I won't be alone. And I have a cat, so she'll snuggle me. Maybe.
I was gonna say, just don't drive.
No.
If that's your plan.
He will be driving me and picking me up, probably. But yeah, that's the movie. I know I was going to try to see Home Again, too. I don't see a ton of... I know, Taylor, you saw it. Did you like it? That's another...
Yes, it was so charming. Home Again is great. I mean, don't go if you're wanting to watch an Out of Africa style movie. It is not that at all, but it is so cute. Reese Witherspoon is A-game charming. The rest of the cast they're funny, and they are very charming. I just kept using the word charming in my review for Zeke. It was So charming.
Oh, I love it. That makes me want to watch it more. I might put that on I might wait till it comes out. I don't really see movies in theaters that much. However, TV I see a ton. So like right now, Tom, my boyfriend's making me watch the old Rome show on HBO, which is super great.
I've heard of that.
It's very good. It's like the high budget TV show that HBO had, I believe, before Game of Thrones. And it's only 2 seasons, so it's pretty quick. And I'm trying to watch Netflix's Ozarks, and it's good. It's really good, but it's very depressing in a different way than, like, if you've ever seen Breaking Bad. It's obviously, like, really hard, and there's drugs and stuff. And then Ozarks is just very funny because it's basically, like, they're trying to launder this money, and there's not much of a reason for it. Like, they have children, and it's like, should you be doing this? Are you guys even really getting a lot out of this with the money? But what I'm writing next is actually for USA's The Sinner, and they had their last episode, so I'm going to watch that and hopefully get on there. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram. I actually just made them the same, so it's MC Streeps, believe it or not. MC and then Meryl Streep's last name with an S. But yeah, thanks again for having me.
Thank you.
So, Taylor.
So, Kyla.
That's our show!
It is our show! Woohoo!
We are out of the episode.
So it's a movie, was what we asked. And also, so it's an accent.
And, which, by the way, forgot to mention this while we're with Maddie. Mixed reviews on whether or not her accent was accurate in actuality. To find the answers, I went to Yahoo Answers, because Answers is in their name. And here's the best answer, marked from 6 years ago. This user said she didn't get the accent right, but her performance was nevertheless very good. The accent sounds more like American with a touch of Swedish accent. BTW, I'm Danish. So I suppose I would trust a Danish person on Yahoo Answers.
Assuming they're telling the truth about their identity, yes.
Assuming they are. So yes, a funny thread on Yahoo Answers. But anyways, regardless.
She was great.
Fun movie. That was really fun talking to Maddie because she didn't even have to research. She knew her stuff. Clearly.
Exactly. Meryl Streep, correspondent.
Yep. Her new title.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Maddie, for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the Twitter sphere.
Yes. And speaking of Twitter sphere, you can follow us at So It's a Show, where you can get all the updates on our episodes, on our Tumblr, on Gilmore Girls cast members' birthdays, because we try to do that. Also, when Alexis Bledel wins an Emmy, hold up, congrats!
Yeah.
We definitely tweet about that.
Yeah, come for all the fun gifs from pop culture references that we talk about and Gilmore Girls. Those Fembot gifs, oh my gosh.
So crazy.
Freaky. In like a funny way, not actually scary.
Yeah, not like misery scary.
Yeah, no, I don't think we did many misery gifts. More funny ones.
I have to say, I was a little nervous to search for misery gifts when I was scheduling tweets for the misery episode. Yeah.
So, come for that. You can also find us individually. I'm at Kyla Kathneidu. That's KYLA CARNEIRO.
Yay! I don't know why, I just wanted to have a weird pause there. And you can find me at tblake24.
Let us know what you thought about this episode. Did we cover Meryl Streep enough? Should we talk about her in every episode? We want to know. Leave us a review on iTunes. Those are the best. We haven't gotten any in a little while. Starting to get a little sad. Want to hear from you.
Wow. You were really letting your hair down in all literal and figurative ways here.
It's time to let the braid out.
Yeah, and it's like time for you to leave us a review, because we don't have.
This is what happens when we can't read reviews. I mess up my hair and make faces.
Are visual stories good for podcasts?
What do you mean?
Here, let's describe what's happening, because you can't see it.
Yeah, I guess sometimes. Basically, my hair is very crimpy now because it was in a French braid. And it's all on one side of my head. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it was styled this way for, like, the Emmys or something.
It does, kind of. It's pretty cute.
Thanks. So anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with us once again, and let us know what you think about having guests. Recommend some guests to us. We would love to reach out to more people.
Know. Yes.
It's so fun. Here's a teaser for our next episode. We'll talk to you then.
Bye. You have almost no free time with all your work at the diner, and lately every spare moment has been spent not with Rachel.
That's not true.
Oh, she was looking for you today, and she didn't know where you were.
I'm not hiding from her.
I didn't say you were hiding from her.
Sounded like you were implying it.
Well, someone's sensitive about the accusation.
I think I'm hiding from her.
I think you are too.
It's just a little weird having her in my place.
I thought that's what you wanted.
It is. I've just been living alone since forever. You know, I got used to putting the milk someplace in the fridge and finding it in the exact same spot. You know what I mean?
We don't even keep milk in the house.
Well, then cookies.
Cookies almost never make it out of the car.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, maybe you can train Rachel to use a magic marker to mark the milk exactly where you left it.
It's not just about milk. I'm not used to someone expecting me.
Expecting you to?
Come home, do things, be with her.
Oh, most people would kill to have that in their lives.
I know. But I'm different. I'm a loner.
Oh, no. No. I don't want to hear about the romance of being a loner.
Some guys are just naturally loners.
Yes, lonely guys.
Independent guys.
Sad guys.
Maverick guys.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
John Muir.
The Unabomber.
Henry David Thoreau.
Every one of these sad and lonely guys.
It's just not what I thought it would be like having Rachel back. You know, it's not the fantasy I was toting around all these years.
Well, Luke, life is not a fantasy. Maybe you have to lower your expectation bar a little bit.
So you're saying that life is just settling for whatever comes along?
Wow. You think having Rachel's settling?
No, I didn't mean that. Rachel's great.
And she's crazy about you. And if her worst trait is she's a milk whore, you have it pretty good.
Yeah.
And you just need to give this situation a fair chance.
I know.
And that starts with ceasing work on the Winchester Mystery House here.